Celeb Savant is a career retrospective type interview focusing on singers, actors, and industry experts. Join Barrett Edelstein now as he dives into the entertainment world.
The Covasettes are a British indie rock band known for their anthemic indie pop sound, heartfelt songwriting, and energetic live performances. The band formed in the mid-2010s and consists of Chris Buxton, lead vocals and guitar, Matt Hewlett, lead guitar, Jamie McIntyre, bass guitar, backing vocals, and producer Matt Buckley, drums. Lizzie Wenninger recently joined on keyboard, strings, and backing vocals. Over the years, the Covasettes have released a string of well-received singles and EPs, earning support from major streaming platforms, radio stations, and music publications. The band has achieved over 15 million streams, a multitude of sold-out shows across the UK, and standout sets at festivals both at home and abroad. Their journey so far has also seen them support some of the biggest names in indie, including the Lottery Winners, the Zootons, Sundara Karma, and Giant Rooks. Along the way, they've earned a national radio play from BBC One, Radio X, XS Manchester, and BBC Introducing, as well as coveted spots on playlists across Spotify and Apple Music. Up next on Celeb Savant, we've got Matt Hewlett from the Covasettes. Where in the world are you and how are you doing?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm in the northeast of England, just in between Sunderland and Durham. The lads like to take the mick out of my accent quite a lot because I'm from the northeast. We've got a very specific accent, but I'm good, thank you. Yeah, very, very glad to be here and chatting to you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. How and where did the band name Covasettes come from? How did you guys choose it?
Oh, honestly, it's been so long now. I'm not sure. It's one of them things that's in our 10 years that we've been doing this. It's almost sort of folkloric. I think we all kind of disagree about whether it was whether we were sort of playing Scrabble and just sort of made it up, or whether it was another game or something like that. So it's terrible. I should have done some research on myself, but I actually couldn't tell you these days.
It's okay. It's all good. It's so intrinsically in your guys' energy and aura that it's just there. We don't need an explanation. Perfect.
Yeah, I think you'd honestly get a different answer whoever you asked. Yeah, okay. You would.
Perfect. Okay, so now let's rewind to your journey. At what age, whether as a child or teenager, did you think, okay, I want to be in this creative world? How did that journey progress? How did you meet the rest of the band?
Yeah, well, for me personally, I accidentally fell into music because my younger brother wanted a drum kit for his birthday, and my mum and dad didn't want me to be left out, and they bought me a guitar. Well, luckily now we're playing some big gigs and selling some albums, so they're happy now. But at the time, I would just sit and play the 4 notes in Smoke on the Water on repeat, driving them absolutely crazy. And then, I just didn't put the guitar down, and then moved to university in Manchester, where, here in the UK, like Manchester, Liverpool, these are also like big musical hubs where you hear of, hundreds of bands. I studied history at uni, but I was very much going to try and meet a band and sort of pursue music. And then I met Chris, who's our singer, on what is effectively a dating app for musicians called joinmyband.com.
Oh, okay.
And it worked really well. It's not very rock and roll. I would love to say that our eyes locked across the room at a gig, but yeah, it was online. And then we met Matt Buckley, our drummer. So there's 2 Matts in the band. We met him on there as well. And then our bassist, Jamie, I lived with in uni. He's our sort of oracle and musical genius. He's great. And yeah, he came in, and then that was 2016. And then we waited a long time until we met Lizzie, and Chris did meet Lizzie in a pub. And they locked eyes and sort of talked all things music. And then she's joined in the last, year, I think. And that's sort of the full setup, the full lineup of the band now.
So it's a 5-piece band now.
Yeah, 5-piece band. We sort of started recording our album as a 4-piece, and we met Lizzie at a time where we were looking for somebody just to come in and do a couple of vocals on, sorry, not vocals, violin on one or two of the tracks. We knew straight away that she was, more than that. She was good enough to, show us all up, quite frankly, and be a full-time member.
Okay, so now how do you guys create a song?
Honestly, it's been so long since we've done that because this album process has taken us so long. I've sort of forgotten that as well. We tend to follow the same pattern of Chris, our singer, will come up with, at the very least, the chord sequences and usually a chorus melody vocally. So yeah, he'll come up with at least those, but sometimes they're fully formed songs. I mean, sometimes he'll just come in and go, "Oh, I've got this," and he plays for 3 minutes, and we go, "That's brilliant," And then it's very much all of us sort of adding our individual parts onto the. So for me, it's lead guitar. I'll just try and complement what Chris is doing, really. So any of his gaps in the melody, that sort of thing. And Jamie is the producer as well as our bassist, so he's always kind of thinking of, what tempo is this, what key is this, what extra instruments need to go in there, and it's all fairly organic. In 10 years, I don't think we've ever had a discussion about how we write songs. It's always just been pretty natural. And our debut album came out in May, and we've just started to talk about getting back in to a studio and writing. We wrote the album pretty much all in one room in Macclesfield. We hired a sort of cottage, effectively, and just went and set up in there.
So you said that you've been going for 10 years. Why did it take a long period of time to release the debut album?
It's a good question. I think part of it's probably just to do with, it's going to sound really boring, but probably just funding it. I think it's harder and harder for bands to release albums now because of the sort of, just the way that music's consumed. It just sort of seems to get chewed up and spat out really quickly, and there doesn't seem to be any real benefit in doing an album. Well, that's certainly what we thought for a long time. And then the actual cost as well. I mean, we're lucky that Jamie, our bassist, as I say, he produces all of our stuff, but then you still need to master it. You still need to pay an artist to create something. And we just found that we were getting good results by releasing singles, and we released a few EPs along the way that we were really proud of. And then we sort of blinked, and it was coming up to 8 years, I think we were together when we decided to write the album. But we kind of had always said, "Oh, we'll know," it's such a sort of non-binding thing to say, "Oh, we'll know when the moment feels right." And we kind of did. I think we all sort of agreed that the time was right. We'd had, a really successful tour where we thought, "Oh, okay, well, people like us, and maybe now's the time." Yeah.
So I followed the charts, and I saw, I think it was top 15 or top 20 or top 10, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's a really funny one. We actually got a #1 in the download chart. So we beat Michael Jackson, despite him having 6 albums in the top 10 at the moment because of his film, or the film about him, I should say. But in the official UK top 40, so that's everything, we came 34th overall, which we were really happy with. I mean, the album that came 33rd, so one place ahead of us, was Arctic Monkeys' AM, which is a 15-year-old album. But because of the streaming numbers that it gets, bands on our level just cannot compete with those numbers. So to get in the top 40, we are still pinching ourselves. I mean, it was hard work, don't get me wrong. It's a lot of burning the candle at both ends. But yeah, we were and are over the moon with that.
I love me a CD. I still budget for my CDs every month for me. So thank you to you guys for all the hard work that you do. I love the journey of the choice, the booklet, the unpacking, listening to song from 1 to whatever number. I read in Variety about 4 weeks ago that last year in the US, $1.04 billion spent on vinyls, the biggest since 1983. 2 years ago in the UK, 5.9 million vinyls sold, the biggest since 1993. Last year, also in the UK, there's a basket of products that they gauge exchanges on. There needs to be a high number of exchanges daily for a product to be in the basket, and they monitor it for tax purposes. Because of the upsurge of CDs again, CDs are now back in the basket. And the research of all of this is showing that it's the teenagers, it's the younger kids diving into this world, not the older nostalgic people. Then we have the streaming, as you referenced earlier, and the Spotify. What are your thoughts and observations of the landscape at the moment?
Well, I mean, that's the $1 million question really, is how, from a small band's point of view, we can compete with those streaming numbers. Because I think, well, you'll be aware, but in the UK, it's 1,000 streams equates to one album sale. So an artist such as, I think, did maybe Drake released an album the week after us, so we weren't competing with that, thankfully. But he will get comfortably millions of streams per track on that album in his week. So he will get the equivalent to tens of thousands of sales within that week, which we just cannot compete with. I mean, we are so grateful that we've got a really loyal, dedicated fan base that did go out to record shops and buy our hard copies. So in terms of the landscape for emerging bands to try and compete, because, you know, it sounds great, doesn't it, to say we've got a number one, we've got a top 10, whatever, but it's so difficult to actually break into that space. Then that we were kind of talking amongst ourselves about this, of potentially there being some form of sort of legacy chart or something like that, which would take out, you know, I mean, arbitrarily things that are 10 years old or older, and so that they're competing with themselves.
Just to interrupt you there, the ARIA charts in Australia, they've done that. So anything over a certain age, like 5-10 years, goes into the legacy chart, and then the newer stuff is in the main chart.
I mean, I love some of the sort of Australian indie rock bands at the minute. Like, in our sort of genre, there are so many good Australian ones. I'd love to know if they've got a sort of before and after that change occurred, like how they feel about it. But yeah, I think that would be really beneficial. I mean, there's a lot of bands here that are doing really well and have had really good success with their album. I'm thinking of The Claws, if you know them guys, from Birmingham, and Crystal Tides from Portsmouth. And I think Overpass album has just come out as well. And they're all, you know, smashing it. And we can see that they've got into the charts, and we know now firsthand how difficult that is. I think we overall just feel so lucky that we had people that were willing to spend money on us, because as many of those sales as you mentioned, 1 billion or whatever it is in the US, it is expensive to buy. You know, it's expensive. It's an expensive hobby. And if it is young kids doing it as well, you know, that money's got to come from somewhere. And for people to go out and spend, I think for ours, they were £23, probably be about $30 or something, I guess. So yeah, it's mad that many are selling. And I think that the legacy idea would be something that would benefit grassroots artists a lot. But then also at that point, do you risk the actual prestige of getting a number one? It's like, okay, well, yeah, it was a number one, but you're already going against new stuff, you know. Does that still carry the same weight? I don't know.
Well, I mean, the thing is that some of the albums, if it was based only on sales, would some of those albums, the legacy albums, be in the chart? Maybe yes, but not necessarily.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I'm sure I won't get told off to say this, but we can see on our end, through our label, we could see where we would be before and after streaming, and we would have come ninth, I think. It was 9th or 11th without streaming numbers. So
let's say you got a top 10.
How significant. Yeah. Oh, we will. Yeah.
Yes, Les. But now we're discussing the charts. I've been following the charts since I was a child, which was before the internet. I've got the encyclopedias of the official charts company, of the Billboard charts. Do you feel that they're still as relevant today as they were 10, 15, 20 years ago? I do know, though, in the UK, the Christmas number one is like an exciting thing. And Kylie got it last year. She took it away from Wham or Mariah Carey, and it was a new song. So that was quite an achievement, because it's always Mariah Carey versus Wham. Who's going to take it? But do you feel that the charts are still as relevant as they were 10, 15, 20, even 30, 40 years ago?
For a quick answer, I'd say probably not. I think they're probably not as relevant. I think to us, to people like, you know, my band and our peers, if you like, other bands, we do take it really seriously, because it's almost a chance for us to try and, you know, measure up against the big guys. But from a fan's point of view now, I hope, to be fair, with some of the statistics you mentioned on sort of, you know, CDs and albums, that it will start to be more of a, yeah, more of a sort of mainstream thing again, because I don't think it is. I remember back in the day, as you're saying about Christmas number one, I remember when, was it Rage Against the Machine, I think, fought against the X Factor sort
Yes.
of dynasty of Christmas number ones,
Yes.
in the UK. And I remember sort of being in the car on a Friday listening to, it would be on the way home from school or whatever, or on the way out to probably band practice at the time with a different band, listening to the top 40. Whereas these days, I just don't, maybe out of sight, out of mind. But I mean, I just think people really aren't listening to albums at the moment. I think it's a single dominated market, really. The only people I know that listen to albums are people that go running, because they need sort of longer form content, really. But,
But
then.
sorry to interrupt, but if you look at the stats of the upsurge of CDs and vinyls, it's
Mm.
showing that there is a need and a want and a demand for the albums. So
Yeah.
I would maybe debate and disagree with you in the sense that maybe it was for a period just the singles and EPs, but now because of the upsurge again, that demand for albums is coming back.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I hope there's sort of a renaissance for albums, because it gives us a great excuse to write another one, because we loved it. And I love listening to them. I'm at that age now, the ripe old age of 30. We will just go around for dinner parties or games nights or whatever. And there's nothing better than sitting and listening to a great album. I just bought the one of the specials LPs, and I cannot wait to play it on vinyl.
Wait, have
So
you
yeah,
not
there's
played it
definitely.
yet? Have you not
I've
listened
not
to it?
played it yet. No, I've not played it yet.
Why not?
Honestly, because we're moving house and I don't currently have a setup to listen
Okay.
to it.
Okay, so you've got reprieve there because as soon as
Yeah,
I get a new thing, it's like straight into the box.
yeah, yeah. No, it's literally sat on the shelf over there behind you, and it's plastic still waiting to go.
That's exciting. Do you feel that the listening audience should have more of an understanding of what's going on? Let me explain. I teach spinning classes and I decided to do 3 focus groups of 10 people, 8 people, 3 people. Not a lot, but cross age, cross culture, cross diverse. They are all educated. They all listen to music on streaming. And I gave them this scenario. If an artist has had 100 million streams, how much money do they think the artist got in their back pocket? Now, the first group of people said $50 million. The second group of people said $1 million. The third group of people said 300,000 to 2 million. And I said, it's more like a couple of thousand. They were all sort of shocked and horrified by that number. I know Kate Nash, Lily Allen, Snoop Dogg, Ray, they've all been speaking out about the imbalance of the money. I have spoken to a number of artists who said, okay, they use Spotify as their business card. They can see they're blowing up in Toronto, in Lisbon, and Germany, so they go perform there. However, a bunch of artists have also said that if the audience understands this, then they'll maybe buy a CD, buy a t-shirt, buy a cap, buy merch, buy a ticket to a concert, because they understand there's that imbalance. What are your thoughts around this?
It's something that we've tried to utilize. So we, in our very early days of gigging, got onto the ideas of t-shirts really quickly. We were really lucky that I think our third song that we ever posted online went, I mean, at the time, what we considered to be massively viral. We have, a lot of songs now with more streams than it, but at the time we couldn't believe it. We could see on the Spotify app that our numbers were ticking up and up and up. So we got pocket money, we'd call it, like we got a little bit of money from that. And we kind of realized, like what you're saying, you can see where people want to see you. So we were based in Manchester. We go, hang on, we've got 10,000 plays in London, so we need to go and gig in London. Yeah, it's not possible without. I should say it's not possible only with streaming. So we sold t-shirts. In terms of sort of educating the potential audience to that, it's a really tricky balance we found of, you don't want to sound beggy, you don't want to sound pushy, but it's getting that message across that, well, if you like what we do, and hopefully, clearly, obviously you do like what we do because you've paid your £12, £24 to come and see us, then actually we need you to pay another 15 because of that £12 ticket. We're only going to see £3 of the 500 streams that you've given us by streaming our album 10 times. We're going to see about 3 pence.
Yes.
So we need you to buy our t-shirt of the £15. We get maybe 12. if that answers your question, I think
Yes, yeah.
in terms of the vinyl and stuff as well, that's similar. That because vinyl's quite expensive to produce, and we wanted to sell more, our margins were sort of paper thin on those as well, really.
I know it's all secretive in your guys' world. So what is coming up over the next period of time?
It's kind of secrets to us as well, to be honest. Honestly, our immediate focus is we've just got into the summer here, so we are festival season. We are going to be playing all of the tracks off the album at different points to see what's going to be going into our sort of, main set. We'll be looking to get out touring probably back end of this year or sort of quarter two next year, maybe. Music wise, a lot of the focus at the minute, sadly, is on, I won't swear, is on TikTok, because that's, sort of the best window for your product at the moment. So we're sort of trying to strategize and get some good quality, good looking content on there. And then music, we are planning, we call them writing retreats, where we lock ourselves away for a weekend or 5 days or something, and we're planning one of them for end of festival period. We'll do that, but I don't think there'll be any new music from us, for at least the next 6 months, probably this year.
Because you just released the new
Yeah.
album, so that makes sense. I've given up trying to figure out TikTok. I mean, I've got 42,800 followers up until Monday last week. Good traction. Now, not one of my clips, same strategy as before, not one of my clips gets more than 100 views. I've given up trying to figure it out. I'm just carrying on as normal. Maybe the algorithm will change again. I don't know.
No, it is. It's guesswork. And I mean, we receive a sort of artist news roundup from TikTok every month to be like, this is what's trending. This is what's going to get you views. Sadly, it's never worked out for us that way.
And also the thing is that what's trending is not necessarily what or who we are or you are, your band is. I don't want to do a little chicken dance. I don't want to do,
100%.
those trends. For me, it's just not who I am. So I'm not going to do that.
If you're doing a trend and it goes crazy viral and you get 1 million views and you manage to convert, 1% of those people to be real fans, they're going to turn up at your next gig or listen to your next show, and they're going to go, well, hang on, this isn't the product that I was looking at and enjoying the first time.
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
you're not representing yourself. Such a difficult balance to find.
What do you enjoy about performing live?
All of it. That's such a silly answer, but performing live is just, I don't know. If you've not done it, I can see why it would be sort of terrifying when I tell people that, we get up on stage and play in front of people, but we all love it. Just the thrill. I don't know what it is. There's probably some sort of chemical reaction that's going on, and it is just unparalleled. I'm the lead guitarist, so if there's a crowd of people running into each other and going singing the sort of bit that I wrote, there's nothing like it. So yeah, I love being sort of locked in with the crowd, and I love that moment where you sort of start playing a song and everybody realizes what song it is. And they go, oh yes, come on, like, this is our favorite one, or people like pulling their mates from the side type thing. So yeah, the whole thing. I love it.
Okay, so I'm that guy that's right up in front. I'm dancing, I'm jamming. I'll take my cell phone out for maybe 1 or 2 videos, 1 or 2 photos. I put it away. I notice these days people are so busy on their cell phones doing whatever they're doing. From your perspective on the stage, potentially seeing more cell phones and people jamming and dancing and excitement, do you feel that takes away from the energy of the experience, or it's just where society is?
Yeah, we've discussed it and we've gone in circles with it. We spend a lot of time in the van. Wherever we're gigging, we've spent 10 times longer in the van than we're on stage. So we've discussed the sort of Jack White raconteurs method, where you arrive at the show and you put it in a plastic bag, and then you've got it there for any case of an emergency if you need it, but it gets everybody in there. And then we supported a band called the Zootons in the first half of last year. I think it was February, April. And they have a song, Valerie, which I'm sure you'll know. It is, one of the biggest songs ever because it was covered by Amy Winehouse.
Yes.
And at their Liverpool hometown big show, we all stood at the back of the audience And the second the first note comes on, you just the sea of phones that goes up, and you sort of think, well, we've been lucky enough to watch that 13 nights in a row, but for those guys that have paid their £40 to go and see it, and realistically probably spending probably £100 realistically to go to a gig these days with travel and a couple of beers, and you've paid for 2 tickets or whatever. You sort of think, yeah, you know what? Sort of if they want a video of it, then fair play to them. We try and find a balance where we build in enough human moments into the set where, if you want to be on your phone, fine, but we're having a discussion with you. Chris will be sort of saying like, everybody get down, or, he'll do a call and response sort of Freddie Mercury style thing. And those human moments of connection are happening anyway. So we've kind of accepted it. And, every now and again, there's a video from a show that we've done that gets a few thousand views. So that's probably no bad thing as well,
I love this next game. I know if I had to answer this question tomorrow or next day or in 2 minutes, I understand that your answer will be different every time. Therefore, I am not saying favorite. I'm saying top of mind. If once you finish this conversation, you want to listen to 5 other artists, who would those artists be?
Whoa, Coldplay would have to be in there. I appreciate that as a boring white man answer, but that is always going to be in my top 5. Little Comets are my favorite band of all time. They're a band local to me. I don't know if you've come across Little Comets. If you like sort of jangly indie pop, they are the ones to go for. And then I've been listening to quite a lot of, specials. I've been really into specials. I've been listening to a lot of Small Faces recently. I think just maybe because the sun's come out and like we've got like Ichiku Park or something like that, just like really has fit the vibe quite nicely. And then I'll say Marsicans as well. They're a band that they broke up. They were a victim of lockdown, I think. They were a victim of COVID, but they are my girlfriend and I's sort of first date was to go and see them. So yeah, I'll go for that.
The podcast is listened to throughout the world. As a final message, what would you like to say?
Just thank you for having me on. It's so cool that, people like yourself are doing things like this. I think with our band, if there was nobody doing this, it would very much just be us sort of shouting at trees in the forest. You know what I mean? With nobody listening. As I say, we're all sort of like either late 20s or very early 30s. And we all grew up listening to like radio shows and, YouTube videos of like live sessions. And I remember Van McCann being interviewed in a field somewhere, back in the sort of early days of Catfish and the Bottlemen. And it feels like that's starting to, maybe similar to the albums, there is starting to be a bit of a renaissance. Yeah, we're just so grateful that people are doing that, picking up microphones and stuff. And yeah, thank you for doing that is all I'd say.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Celeb Savant. Please follow Barrett on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube and Facebook at Celeb Savant. That's CelebSavant.